At the start of the pandemic, the prospect of an effective vaccine being developed in record speed seemed like a long shot. Today, several drugs are close to approval, and there's a growing sense of pride among the companies that formulated these shots and the thousands who received them as part of trials.
That's just excellent news. I'm super happy to be a part of this and to try and help bring some kind of peace back to the world.
Neil Browning is one of the 30,000 people who took part in the trial of a drug developed by U.S. company Moderna. Preliminary numbers show that the experimental vaccine is more than 94% effective. Another candidate by rival Pfizer and its partner, Germany's BioNTech, showed similar results.
The expectations in the field from experts were an efficacy rate in the range of 60 to 75%, and 95% is, of course, beyond this.
Pfizer and BioNTech are now preparing to ask the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for emergency authorization. That means deliveries could start before Christmas.
Never has a vaccine been developed in so short a time.
AstraZeneca, working with Oxford University, is also on track to deliver some good news this holiday season. Early results show its candidate works well on older adults, those considered most at risk. It plans to release more data next month. In China, 5 different vaccines are already in late-stage trials. And back in the US, Johnson & Johnson says it hopes to finish testing in January, with distribution to follow soon after.
With the vaccine news that we have, with the therapeutic approval that we have, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Health experts say to end the pandemic, the world will need billions of vaccine doses. That's way more than any single company can produce. It shows that the global vaccine race is less about being first than getting as many across the finish line as possible. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
Well, let's get more on this from Dr. Andrea Feigl. She's the founder and CEO of the Health Finance Institute in Washington, D.C. Thanks so much, Doctor, for being on the program with us. Obviously, this has been very exciting news. Everyone is really hopeful that this could be the key to the end of the pandemic. But do you think it's still too early to tell if a successful vaccine will be the cure-all that everybody hopes it is?
Thank you so much for having me again. I think we're hearing increasingly positive news on the vaccine development front. So I think that we need to still be a little bit patient and keep physically distancing and wearing our masks until we have, of course, larger efficacy trials and know more about the side effects. But we do know that the writing is on the wall. The vaccines are showing to be effective. They're going to be on the order of around 20-25 million doses of, for example, Pfizer's vaccine available in the United States by the end of the year if everything goes according to plan, and the same thing will hold true for Europe. That's, of course, short of the 1 billion doses that we need. However, I think there's really great light at the end of the tunnel, as HHS Secretary mentioned.
Yeah, it certainly is really exciting. Pfizer and Moderna have plans to file for emergency authorization before getting formal approval. Can you talk to us about what that means? What's the process like to fast-track approval for these vaccines?
There are really 2 steps that are involved. One is an independent scientific review. The data that we have so far are data that are released by the drug company, and there needs to be basically another scientific body that can affirm the veracity of the results. And then there's something called emergency use authorization. That is when the full phase 4 trials have not been, which are large safety trials, have not completely been completed. So given that there is dire need, we have 250,000 deaths in the US to date, there is a sort of a procedure to circumvent that and fast track that. Sort of FDA has to look at the safety as well as the efficacy of the vaccine results and can basically use authorization to use it earlier if the scientific independent evaluation also holds up.
Yeah, of course, these vaccines have all been fast-tracked like we've never seen before. And you mentioned, larger efficacy trials need to be done, and we don't know all of the side effects. What are some of the larger implications here? Because we're really working with data from just 3 or 4 months of analysis. I mean, we really don't know, or do we, that these vaccines actually will be successful?
I think we have strong indications that the vaccines can be successful, as we've seen that the mechanisms works as such that the bodies mount their own immune response. What we don't know is how long that immune response will last, and the other thing is, are there any long-term side effects or consequences? But given the fact that, it's always sort of a risk versus reward trade-off here, and we're looking at potentially 3 million people being infected in the US right now with COVID, and the worst side effects that have been seen in the vaccines thus far are fatigue and headaches. So if the independent review holds up and the strong results that we see do hold up, I think there's a strong case to be made that the vaccine will be quite effective and safe.
All right, let's leave it there. Dr. Andrea Feigl, thank you so much.